Exactly what you said. They are not broken. Sometimes they think they are the black sheep or why they have to carry all that things and so on. And it's not even your duty to carry. The way to honor me is for you to live your life fully.
Welcome back to Everyday Conversations, and I'm your host, Amin Mombani. Before we start, if you haven't subscribed yet on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you are listening from, do that. Our strongest lineup is ahead, so I don't want you to miss any episode. We are distributing 2 guest episodes every week. Today's episode is for anyone who has ever felt broken and quietly believed it was their own fault. I met today's guest years ago back in 2020 on a Spartan race course. The kind of place where you find out fast that who someone really is, long before you ever got to know their job title. What I didn't know back then, this man was a PhD veterinarian working with elite racing falcons in the Middle East. A world where one wrong move cost a bird its career. Yes, I'm talking about a career of a bird. And precision is everything. And then somewhere along the way, all of that precision turned inward, toward the human nervous system, toward the pattern families passed down without ever meaning to, toward wounds that started generations before any one of us were born. He now spends his life helping people see the difference between what is truly theirs and what they simply inherited. They call him the Falcon Doctor, not because he still treats falcons, but because that's where the precision was born. Today, the same precision is aimed at something far harder to measure than a bird wingspan or heart rate. The invisible patterns running underneath a person's health, their relationships, their leadership, the way they show up in a room without knowing why. He's an international speaker, a therapist, and a family constellations facilitator, blending neuroscience, systematic psychology, and ancestral healing into one practice. He has one message underneath everything he does. You're not broken. You're carrying something that was never fully yours to begin with. And the moment you see it, you get your power back. Dr. Victor Daniel, welcome to Everyday Conversations.
Thank you. I mean, I'm so happy to see you after a long time. Last time we met, we were colleagues on a Spartan, right? We were
Yes,
doing
that's
our
the thing.
best.
We are doing our best, and we are doing still our best right now.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
How
do.
are you, Doc? How are you? How is
Here
everything?
with you and being away a little bit from Dubai, from the heat, enjoying Romania. I'm exactly after some very important modules in my never-ending training. You mentioned about my my newest path with the family and systemic constellations, and it's a never-ending training. I just finished one in between the mountains, all about the mother, and I thought I have a perfect relation with my mother, but seems like there are always deeper layers to come even closer. Was a very powerful one. We re-experienced how being given birth again it feels, how taking fully to your parents into your heart. We celebrated a wedding. We celebrated my birthday there. We lined up all the ancestors for both cases, and it felt like never. Imagine like you getting married and you never met, right? Some of your grandparents and no way grandparents. And imagine you have people to represent all those like lineage, 5, 6, 7 generations. Imagine them all being there and being happy for you, either celebrating your birthday, being with you there, or having your wedding. So I'm so filled up with so much love, and we are having this podcast in the right time. So thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome, sir. Victor, take me back to the Falcon years for someone who has never been heard or never been near that world. What did a normal day look like?
That's a good one. I'm still involved with Falcons because it seems like my connection is way beyond I thought it is. As I started with this deep connection with the nature. That's for sure. I was always bringing home all the animals possible. I started with racing pigeons at some point, and then from 15, I started with falcons and eagles and hawks, and that built up my career. That brought me to Dubai. And I always had dreams that I can fly. I always got different signs from birds and animals in general, but birds, they always gave me some special news, some special signs that I needed to look upon. And as a falcon doctor, my day always started like really early morning when we used to go in the desert with the falcons. We all gather up like the kids in the bus. We train them really strong. Every day it's a different technique because they're getting bored really fast. They're like humans somehow in the mind. So one day will be with the airplane, with a drone, with a drag lure, or sometimes just free flying, training them on the lure like a cat. So like you play with a cat, right? You can play the same with the falcon, but the falcon flies. And of course, after that, I used to care for a lot of falcons that they are prepared for the races, IV fluids, a lot of biohacking tools that I was using to help them win. So it was a very interesting times. And whenever a time I had, I trained a little bit myself as well after the training to be able to join Spartan races. So it was fun. I'm still involved in it. I deal with the number one guy in Saudi that he has football teams and the best Falcon team there. You know, I was helping him win for the past 3 years all the presidential cups, all the races. And because now I infuse as well a different part of myself, both the spiritual side and the energy healing besides the medical part. So it's still part of me and is developing more into something called constellations with animals. So you can do these systemic and family constellations with animals. It's more popular with horses. The horses, they get into a role really quick as you do a constellation with human that they represent different parts of us or members of the family. They feel, but horses too. And now I'm working on developing something more into birds, into falcons and pigeons, and that they can represent certain elements. So bringing the spiritual part in that aspect as well.
So, what does precision look like when the patient is a racing falcon worth more than most people's houses? You know how expensive is a falcon.
Yeah, yeah. It's very complex, right? Like for any athlete, like imagine Ronaldo, right? Imagine that it's not only the physique and the six pack and the power and the smile and the looks and the determination. There are so many other elements together. So of course, starting with if it's right for it, because like for example, you cannot win races for horses with a donkey, right? You need a really strong line of a horse. So the same with falcons, you need to have a really good bloodline to be able to stand a chance. Imagine that I used to race against the locals. Imagine that they buy hundreds of falcons and they select only the best ones to race from those. So from 100, they will come into the race only with maximum 10. And so you gotta understand, uh, first of all, if it's a good one. It will seem by how sharp he looks, how fast he starts to react to what you show him, and keeping him always busy in his mind because they get bored really fast. So first, the precision is to follow every single step, the way he stands on your hand, the way he grips, the way he looks, the way he gets distracted. It's very complex. It's like you were being a mentalist, psychologist, and let's say a football coach in the same time. So that's what it is when you train a falcon.
I remember watching your Instagram stories and posts regarding the falcon races, and because of that, I come to know that okay, he's a falcon doctor for and trainer for falcon races, and I was so astonished when I saw those things, how you are making a falcon race, and within seconds the falcon reached over there in the finish line and all these things. I was like, that's something amazing because racing a normal human and racing a falcon is totally different thing. Even a horse race is something different, but falcon It's totally unbelievable thing I saw.
Yeah, if they fly, fly. I mean, the horse gets beaten to start to rise. They, they hit without small little thing. For the camels, they have the small little robots that hit left to
Yes,
right butt of the camel. The dogs are also maybe a little bit pushed, but the falcons, if they fly, they fly. If they don't, they don't. And it's an interesting, and because we spoke about the Spartan race as well, I apply the same principles as well in the Spartan. So I was not training. Like I after the training of my falcons in the days I used to run and just do some push-ups, do some pull-ups and so on, and that's all. Um, and then when I went to the race, it was interesting. I applied the same principle that I knew from falcons, and I remember I came to my first real race in Oman, and I came top three. I didn't even know. I, I
I
was
remember
racing
that.
against
I
all these
remember that
extreme guys that
Jabal
they,
Sifa Oman.
yeah,
That race was Jabal Sifa Oman. I remember that we went.
yeah, yeah.
So tell me something. Humans are racing, horses are racing. Their mindset is totally clear to reach the finish line with entire speed and the whole mindset. What about Falcon? Are you trying to build their mindset also?
Yes, yes. You gotta connect with them, and you know what? I'm thinking to race again because now I know much more than I knew before because of the constellations. Because as I told you, you can influence with your energy what's happening around you. So after working in the constellation field with human, I did some trial. I was at some point in Bucharest waiting for a bus, and there were a bunch of pigeons around. And then I set an energy in my mind, a dynamic that I'm looking to, and then the pigeons started reacting the way that I needed to, and they started positioning themselves to show me what I'm looking for. Let's say there was a male and a female, and there was a dynamic that I was thinking about, and they started to follow that pattern. It was unbelievable. And then I realized that in doesn't matter if you train people to ruin something or with a falcon it's easier because it's connected to your hand. It's staying there. You can get into their mind and then transmuting that energy of, let's say, of Ronaldo or over a Ferrari, and
Wow.
then let him represent that and get him into that to influence with the mind to for that to happen. Joe Dispenza, they are making something that people would call magic in his events. People are going and healing stuff. They are becoming completely different people, and I'm looking to implement that even into this field. So you gotta watch the races this season.
Walking away from an elite, highly specialized medical career is not a small decision. What was underneath that decision? Was there a personal rupture, a crisis, something that broke first before this new path could open?
I see it as a guidance. So some people will call it betrayals and God forgot about them and they have huge karmas to pay and whatever. But I call it a mission. Sometimes it's more painful, like in the Spartan race. Sometimes we have that muddy thing that it never ends, and like destroyed, and you don't know. And then you have the final thing that you jump over the fire like a falcon, and you feel so released and free. It's always different, and I wanted to keep in both involved 50-50, right, in the spiritual and in the falcons. But I guess the universe wanted me to be more into the spiritual world because I was uh, I was betrayed by the partners that I was having a clinic at some point, and then in myself it felt right to stay away for a long time, and for I think for 2 years I didn't do falcons at all. Um, I was focusing more on the different practices. I was organizing ice baths events with qigong, with meditation, and many other things with a lot of different devices for biohacking, for ionized water, for blocking the radiation. So I step away from the falcons, but now it brings me back because I feel that I have as well certain gifts for this field as well.
So you are still known as the Falcon Doctor, but
Yes, yes, and I'm
you're not working much with the Falcons right now.
no only in winter. So I have, let's say, 1 month in December where I go to Saudi because there are massive races, and as well I hold constellations when I'm going in there. But otherwise, no. So full time I'm doing
That's what. So
more spiritual work.
that's what I want to ask you. That's what I want to ask you. You are known as a Falcon Doctor still now, and then you are doing your spiritual thing as well. So what does it feel like carrying two identities that don't obviously belong together?
It from the outside they don't look to belong together, but in fact it's the same thing.
Really?
It's just different part of myself because the way I integrate them. And for example, in the constellations, you need to be present like no one, nothing else. There are so many practices out there like Reiki and Pranic and all these Akashic records, and you go, woo, you go on the clouds and you connect with everything. And uh, most of the time, I will tell people to be really guarded because there are a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of things that are not good from that. Um, and I would take care. I would take big care. In the constellation, it's completely different thing. You need to be so present than never before. It's like you gotta be present like a doctor that is helping women give birth. I would do this comparison because, for example, I'm having, let's say, a group of 20 people, and we work on something deep. Let's say a generational trauma that you have, and we have a couple of people that they enter roles. Your grandmother, your maybe a grandfather that was injured in the war, and things are coming up like all doons. They will start to scream, they will start to shout, they will crawl on the floor. Things that you cannot imagine are happening. It's not a normal therapy, and so you gotta be more present than anything else. Like even more present than with the falcons. So in the falcons, I used to do mainly endoscopies as a surgeon. So you do 5 millimeters a hole between the ribs. You go with a small, tiny endoscope inside, and then you go and you see the liver, the heart, and the kidneys, and you take foreign objects and granulomas from infections if you can. So everything is like so micro, and I gotta be so precise and so present. And for me, it's still like an exercise of precision, and then synchronizing everything inside you, the breath with the presence, with feeling the energy and all. It's very complex. So it helps me. I see it as still as a training for my presence.
That's mind blowing, brother. That's really mind blowing.
Well, definitely the next time
You
you
help
gotta come with experience.
definitely. So you help people see patterns in their families, their leadership, their health, without naming anyone. What's a pattern you have helped someone which uncovered that change how you understand people?
It depends. So in the constellations, it's not easy to put patterns. You can give examples because, for example, let's say you come with an issue, a common issue that is now is money. So many people are making a lot of money, they're losing a lot of money, so they are in this pattern always. And there can be various things. So, for example, in many cases, it's happening. So when you set up a constellation, I sit down with you, and we have a bunch of people around us that they are going to be in service for you to help you unveil something. And then we'll have somebody to represent, let's say, yourself, and then somebody will represent the money itself. Then we will observe where the person representing the money he's looking to, because depends where he's looking, we'll decide who will bring next. Because we might bring your parents, we might bring certain grandparents that you know any history about them. And it's so interesting because many times it comes to the fact that one of the grandparents, let's say, had a lot of money, was really rich, and something happened that somebody took all that money away, either the government or uh, the thieves and so on. So the pain of losing all those money is much higher than having them. And then we inherit that. We don't even know that kind of conscious thing. So when we reach to have a certain amount of money, the fear of not losing like that ancestor is much bigger than holding them. And then we do something that we get rid of them by ourselves. And then through this we find those patterns. um Sometimes it happens that, let's say, you have a certain issue with one of the girlfriends. Like we men, when we, especially when we are young, we have various relationships. When we go, we make love, we don't get that much attached. Depends on the cultures. In Europe it's very common. And so let's say we are in our 30s as men, and probably we had 100 girlfriends before. And some of them, they were really no connection, they were also for them. You had certain good time together and then you moved on. But there were some moments and some of those ex-partners, both in men and women, that they are still inside themselves attached to us. They are still, let's say, suffering, and so they somehow they hold our energy connected to that. And it can affect you in both relations but also in money. Because if they have certain thoughts toward you and they feel that you betray them, especially, I don't know, connected to money side, you might have a lot of issues from that without you knowing. So they can be in various things. You never know until you put things to represent the things that you want to see.
You you use the word constellations and family constellations. So what does a family constellation session actually look like in the room? What is the body doing that the person's own mind is not aware of?
This is really interesting. And I will start with how I felt the first time. It felt like theater. Like I had no idea. People will just start acting. And I was like, wow, they really learned some good words out there, and they know these scripts. And I didn't understand what's going on until I was put into a role and everything changed. So you start to feel things in your body, in especially if you let yourself live that. So how it looks like, um, for example, I will work with you. So let's say I'm the facilitator, and we have around, let's say, 10 people that they want to help out, because their turn will come as well to have their own constellation. And normally depends on what we want to work on. You are an observer, so it's like we are doing a CT scan through your life, through your soul, through your everything, your entire being, physical, energetical, how you call it. And then sometimes, for example, people that they are dissociated, depression, or depends what's the issue. So we can put people to represent, for example, fear, depression, whatever issue they have. Or let's say they want to reconnect with parents, grandparents that maybe they never knew, or they had issues and they died and they didn't have the chance to say goodbye. They want to reconcile. They want to find out maybe some secrets that they were with them and they never got them back. So it's so interesting. They call it the morphogenetic field. It's like a big database, like an AI that we are connected to. So it's even the scientists, you're able to prove that when somebody agrees to, let's say, to represent your grandfather, we bring him there in the middle. He will close his eyes for a few seconds just to connect. And like a miracle, he will get this frequency if he's allowing himself to feel. And many times they will just start saying the same words like that grandfather would say. Or for example, it's happening that a grandfather didn't have a leg because he lost it in the war. And suddenly that person representing not knowing. So we don't tell them. Let's say I will take Abdullah, that he's in the constellation, like he will want to represent as well. I will not tell him. I'll say you represent someone or something. So not letting the mind to play tricks. And then suddenly he will start to feel that he's not able to stand properly, that he's laying on that side where that grandfather didn't have the leg. And we start to feel sensations in that leg. Sometimes they, let's say, there was a person that I don't know, died with a certain kind of issue in the body. That person will touch there and then will feel some pain there. So unexplainable, but things are happening. So it shows you where is the root of all the things that you are struggling with. without having you to like try to um, give yourself as a psychologist or as a coach your own opinion from your own pattern based recognition, because every time is different. So you let this higher field, the source itself, to guide and show what's going on in your life, to see that city. And then as it lets me as a facilitator, I interpret that CT scan, but allowing you to see without me telling you what to do. Because you gotta feel what's going on in there and take it back into your heart. And we allow all that love to flow back. So whatever love was not flowing properly from the parents, from their parents, we make sure with certain affirmation, with certain rituals, that we restore that love and flow. Makes a little bit of sense,
So
or it's still too
it,
complicated?
it's not that complicated, but the thing is, so if someone has passed away, some loved one
Yeah.
have passed away, and that through constellation they can see them, they can visualize them.
Yes. Yes.
That's great. But you used some sentence earlier. You use that you can set up an interpretation and CT scan and everything for them, but only if the person allows them to receive.
Yes. That's correct. Like
If he's
sometimes,
not
and
accepting, if he's not accepting and not allowing it to receive, it won't come in this visualization, right?
he will not visualize anything. It's not about you visualizing and closing your eyes. Everybody needs to be really present. You gotta stay with your eyes open. Sometimes a client will close his eyes, and I will make sure that he's open because he needs to see. Because, for example, he will blame his mother. My mother was like this. My father was a bastard. And then you bring their people to represent them, and then you see how, let's say, you place, can be women or men, you place, let's say, a woman in the role of the father, that anyone can represent anything. It's unbelievable. And you'll see she got that role. She doesn't know. I say, like, are you willing to represent something in Amin constellation? I said, she will say yes. She'll step into the field. And especially when it's a big pain, when it's something really unexpressed things happen, and especially if that person passed away, even more, it'll come to the surface. So often case, that woman representing, let's say, your father, she will go directly into your knees and crying out like crazy, and it's like he doesn't understanding what's going on. And believe me, in you, something will happen in the moment that you will see that pain unexpressed, let's say from a father that passed away. It will touch your soul in such a deep way, because even for that person that is crying out doesn't make any sense. She's in that representation for you. She's showing up what you need to see, but for you makes so much sense. You feel and you understand all that pain, all that thing that was not expressed. And then you start really seeing and forgiving and accepting the father and taking into your heart. And things start to, you feel a radiance. You feel that something opens up. It's always a lot of crying, and it's not always about the trauma. So I take care of the trauma a little bit at the beginning, but later on I focus more on special exercises in constellations where we connect with the gifts. So, for example, you, Amin, had only, let's say, the 7 generations, more than 2,000 ancestors on your mother's side, and another over 2,000 on your father's side. So imagine, like, over 4,000 ancestors only in the first 7 generations. And imagine that you had there a lot of artists, a lot of maybe poets, maybe kings, maybe, I don't know, prophets, incredible people. And all those have those gifts. And we do as well certain exercises where we place representatives for all those lineages and then connecting to them. So you stay in front of them, like I say now, and you look at them, and their role is to represent those. And something happens. It's like really unique. Like you feel that something comes into you, and you stay with your hands open, and you feel how you get enriched. You feel the power from them. Especially if you are a man, then you turn around, imagine in them all like really cheering for you. Really imagining all those powerful men with strong bodies, with strong minds and characters cheering for you, and sending you all that power that, you know, that's what they wish the most, for the lineage to go further, to reach to you. So that's the biggest accomplishment, that you, Amin, are here today. and their life was not in vain. Because if you don't be here, doesn't matter how much money they made and how many farms they had, their life would have been in vain. Nobody would have known. But because you live today, it's like you bring that energy alive.
Definitely, my mom over there in the sky would definitely be happy on Amin having a podcast and listening to people's conversations.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something, but you already replied something similar to that. All this process, the constellation, the room, inside that room, crying, trauma, all these things mixed mixed up. It will be mixed up, right? So how you handle when, of course, when someone lose their family, their close ones, they go in the vein, they go in the pain, they cry a lot. And when after they knew that, okay, there is a Dr. Victor who is doing running family constellations and he can make you visualize your parents, your family, or any one of your member. As you said, 7 generations, someone
Okay,
is
not
there.
visualize. Let's not let's erase this visualize.
Yeah, let me correct what
We need to see with
correct me.
open big eyes, you know?
Okay, so if there's okay, for example, I'm
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I come to you for the family constellation and you make me see my mom in front of me. Definitely I'll be crying, I'll lost somewhere. So how you handle that person?
It's always
I'm not
different.
talking about anyone else right now. I'm talking
Yeah.
about my own example.
So
Because
it's always
I got
different.
goosebumps. I got goosebumps while you were telling all these things. So I just want to feel it something.
Mhm. All right. Would have been nice to have somebody in your room and do an actual exercise right now. Maybe we can do it in a second part.
I can't wait for that. Whenever you
We
are
can do
in
a second
Dubai in
part
the
for that.
winter,
But
I really want to. I want to speak
Mhm.
to my mom.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
I'll be waiting for that, definitely.
mhm. It's always easier when we have representatives, and when it's something so deep, it's it's good to have somebody that is even close to that. Let's say a woman to represent that on a similar age as well will make even a bigger impact, because she will also embody that, and she will get to that frequency of your mother, and it's so deep, and I saw it so many times, not even having to say much, just staring into her eyes. You will connect to the frequency of your mother, and you will feel for quite some time that your mother is actually there. And especially when it's the physical connection, so you are able to put your head on her shoulder, put your head on her chest there, and feel again like the child that she was holding you when you were a child, and you let yourself melt there in that energy, and you feel that she is continuing to give you what she couldn't give you anymore, and you feel that that energy actually never stopped coming to you from her, and you are able also to reconcile, like to be able to look into her eyes and apologize that you were so busy, maybe, and that you didn't have enough time to stay with her and cherish her and thank her enough for all the sacrifices that she did to raise you. And sometimes those moments, they last, we gotta let it for like 10-15 minutes, nobody says anything, but everybody feels that, and everybody is being touched, because we all lost parents, grandparents, people that they are very close to us, and
Definitely.
everybody gets into that frequency, and they in themselves, they reconnect as well to someone that they got away from, and it's a beautiful thing. And at the beginning, maybe sometimes it's screaming, like sometimes there will be children that they will be angry, like we call them children, the interior children. Let's say it's a person that is in the 40s already, but let's say a parent left too early, and inside the inner child feels so angry, and in the moment that they are placed into the role, they'll cry, they'll scream. It's like, why do you leave me? Why did you leave me so early? And they will scream and they will be so angry.
Definitely,
At some point, they
if
will
I
start
am on
banging
that
to the
place,
chest of that parent. They're like, why so early? I needed you so much. And it's sometimes, and then we got a whole space for it, and then it starts to calm down the whole energy, and you see the light. So after the session, you see the light in the eyes. Because when I compare it with, let's say, different kind of sessions of Reiki or hypnotherapy and all these things, you go somewhere really far. And then you see some things that maybe they are not, from different dimensions, from different past lives, and so on. But it gets you more away from your body, and you are like somewhere else. You're like, oh, you see their eyes, they're like, oh. But after the constellations, you see people are here, are present. You see in their eyes that spark. They are more present, and they are ready to be more present for the people in their life. Does it make sense?
it makes sense. And definitely, if I was having it, I would have only one complaint with my mom, that why she left early. What you said before. I think not me, everyone in this world who are losing their parents at an early age, they have one complaint with their parents all the time, that why they left early. I think 2013, my mom died, and it's been like 13, 14 years, 13 years. 13 years I haven't heard her. 13 years I haven't spoke to her on phone. Whenever I'm in trouble, whenever I'm in any downfall moment or sad moment or upset, I used to call her immediately. Hey mom, what's up? Where are you? You're not even asking your son how is he? Is he sick? Is he downfall or something? But yes, last 13 years I haven't spoke to her. I haven't heard her voice. So definitely when I be in that constellation, I would definitely ask her that why she left so early. And it's not case with me only. I think everyone will ask their parents the same thing.
Mm.
Victor, you said something that if this episode could change one thing for one person, it's that they realize that they are not broken. That a lot of what they carry didn't start with them. Say that to someone listening right now who believes deep down that something is wrong with them. I think right now, the problems in the whole world is going on somewhere, somehow, something. People are thinking that something is wrong with them. They're not on the success path. Something is wrong with them. Their manifestation is not completed. Something is wrong with them. They are affirming, but they're not getting something. Something is wrong with them. What do you say to the listener?
Exactly what you said. They are not broken, and it's very interesting. Sometimes they think they are the black sheep, or why they have to carry all that things, and so on. And from the constellation view, it's quite simple. Simple but complicated. But the overview is simple. The idea is that, especially the last two generations, they had quite hard times. There's so many things happening, and depends on the culture and the country they are in. The pains were similar anyway, even if they seem so different. The core pain was similar. So when you come as a child, it's not that the parents are giving you the bad things to carry or the karma and so on. You choose, because you want to bring back and restore the love. You want to clean all what's there. You don't want to leave, let's say, the grandparents with all that bad stuff. So the more you took on yourself, the more you have to carry. So most of the time is not yours, and is not even your duty to carry. And that's what I love in the constellations, that when you put all together all the things that you are struggling with, the financial part, the partners, the illnesses, and so on, and then when you take them step by step and you find out the source of them, you find that, let's say, you carry that illness in your body, that sickness that haunts you and doesn't allow you to be happy, because of loyalty towards, for example, grandmother. Let's say for women, they often carry from their mother lineage. Let's say if grandmother during the war, the husband never came back from the war, that sadness it get transmitted as well through the generations. So the girl comes and say, if my grandmother was not happy and she was abused, she had all these things because she was not seen. I choose to carry with these things with me as well to honor her. That's my way to honor her, and that's why I love in the constellation when you set it up and then she's seeing that grandmother, she's seeing that all she's carrying from her, and that grandmother comes back to her and say like, I don't want you to carry this. The way to honor me is for you to live your life fully, to be happy, to be healthy, to be with someone that can give you children and continue the lineage. So it's crazy how things start to align, and many times there are illnesses that disappear after that because it's like, oh shit, I had no idea I'm carrying all this disease all these years because this is the thing, the way that I am honoring this grandma. But in fact, she doesn't need all this shit. She just wants me to be happy. Things are dissolving. Other cases, let's say with relations, the same. If one was not happy out of loyalty towards that person, things are happening. Sometimes it's so interesting that, of course, probably we'll get a lot of controversy from this. And sorry for that. Let's say somebody in a family the first time comes and declaring openly that he's gay, and then all the family, he's like so intrigued. It's like, why? What did we do wrong? What's going on? Is something bad with you? And we set up a constellation, for example, for that, and it seemed that the brother of the grandfather, he was really weird and different, and was excluded from the family. They didn't want him on their table with them because he was so weird and speaking weird stuff, and then they just push him away. He lives most of his life away and died alone. And this child came, and when he came as a soul and said, okay, let me look behind. Who was the most excluded from the family? Because our role is to include everybody that was excluded. So it's like, okay, this grandfather, the grandfather, he was excluded, and it's like to be loyal to him, to help him to be integrated. I will resonate him. I will be being completely different, and normally the next generation, it's making it more intense. So probably the most different can be to have a completely sexual orientation than the rest of the tribe, to be excluded. And the more he will be excluded, the more things will come from that. There are many things. Like sometimes there was, let's say, let's say the father had a mild issue in the brain. Then the child was being born and had a huge problem on the brain, and it needs operation, and then things are coming again. And then in a constellation, they realized that the grandfather, so the father of the father, had something being done to him, and that's why it came to it. So it's very deep.
Victor, where did your own spiritual transformation actually begin? What was the moment? Were you so down? Was it so slower, or was there a single moment?
There's so many things. They're doing a lot of magic in all times in Romania. And recently I found out as well that my grandmother was quite a good witch. Even I had no idea about these things. So I used to see sometime when I was young, I used to see different things, have different dreams, but I would get certain guidance. I would get certain protection when I would be in certain circumstances, like my life being saved in many times in so many ways. And I would have certain things that what is called clear cognition. So I will not see much images, I will not hear, but I will know in that moment. And I will do things that would be guided, including my boys. I have two boys. One of them will be 6, one of them will be 4 the next 1 month. And even with my boys was a guidance. Like I got the messages from the source, from God, that they are coming. And of course with the falcons as well, I always got some kind of messages from them. Through the pranic healing, I started feeling more the energy and learning how to distribute to the body, learning how to feel it. In the let's say I practice like ice bath, I would learn to preserve it, to feel it inside, to get the body to feel whatever I want to feel. Then of course the constellations was the one that expanded in all directions.
I'm amazed by the constellations thing, and it's really, really interesting to get know more about this. And definitely, one episode is not enough to know more about it. And definitely, I'll get you back again to know more because, of course, after this episode, I will get definitely bunch of questions about this constellation. Maybe they will reach directly to you as well to ask, and let me know so we can do one more episode on that. But do what? Let me know one thing: strip away your titles. The doctor, the speaker, the facilitator. Who is Daniel when no one is in the room? There is nothing to heal, nothing to fix. Who is Dr. Victor Daniel?
Yeah, I use them. I think I'm not really attached to the titles. I use them because it's fun. I don't know. They call me the Falcon Doctor and so on. And like I like I can strip me away from all these titles. My mother always fights with me that you could be the top doctor in the world and so on, and you choose two different things. So like because life is so beautiful. Why to get attached to all this? Um, I'm passing always through a lot of shifts, a lot of changes as well. It's always getting deeper and deeper. When I'm with my boys, I prefer to be there, to be present, to observe them, to be the father that I didn't have. My father was more distant, and then I give back all what I didn't receive to my boys. That present, that caressing, that love. Yeah, he came already. um, Otherwise, like anyone else, I guess, getting a lot of thoughts as well, getting a lot of things about the future. Sometimes worries as well because so many things are happening now with the AIs, and it's interesting. I also find myself just wanting to be there on the grass, not think about everything, just look into the sky.
So, if the pattern someone is fighting was never truly theirs, whose was it? And how do they finally put it down?
The pattern.
Yes.
There are so many methods, but the constellation definitely is the easiest because when you understand it doesn't serve you, and you see it practically that so many are suffering because of that and doesn't serve anyone, just like you are having a thick rocker jacket and you stay outside in 50 degrees in Dubai now, and then you don't realize it, right? Like most of the time the people who carry all this, they don't realize. So then when they see it, it's here, so they lift it out. It's so much better without it, and they leave it behind.
So, you told me something that you are hilariously bad at accepting ignorance. So that's a strange thing, to hear from a man who has spent his whole life becoming an expert, first in falcons, then in human nervous systems. So give me a real recent moment where not knowing got the better of you.
um yeah, then I'm thinking about a moment. I mean, it used to happen before a lot. Now it's really rare. I guess it more refers when I see those who intentionally trying to harm others and harm the planet and harm everything, harm the peace. Like for me, that would be ignorance because they harm themselves more than ever when they do that, and like that really touches me. Like why? Like really, why would you want to harm the place you live and yourself by harming the people
True.
around you.
So, Victor,
Like that's the one that really strikes me.
definitely. So, Victor, uh, tell me something. Artificial intelligence, AI. Can AI replace the Falcon Doctor?
Hmm.
Or
Definitely not.
AI, or can AI replace the facilitator?
None of them. None of them. That's for sure. So those funny reels that with those mothers doing the laundry and it's like, okay, AI will replace it. Like when? I feel the more AI it grows, the more this will be wanted even more, especially the constellations, because the more AI, the more issues will come on the nervous system, and people
Definitely.
will want this connection more than ever. And especially the constellations about hugs, like how many hugs you'll see during the constellation, and how much love, how many I love you, you'll not see even in the holy drama. Believe me.
So AI cannot replace that human touch.
Yeah.
Victor, one takeaway message for the listeners.
One takeaway message: open your heart. Open your heart to everything that comes to you, especially those that are the most uncomfortable to open your heart to.
That's lovely. So, a man who spent years perfecting precision with birds, built for speed. And then he turns that same precision toward the slowest, quietest work there, helping people put down what was never theirs. Daniel, thank you for being fully open with the conversation, for trusting me and my listeners with the real stuff, and for reminding everyone listening of something worth carrying with them today. You are not broken, you are carrying a pattern, and the moment you see it clearly, you already have the power to change it. All of Daniel's links, including his YouTube channel, Beyond Awakening, are in the show notes below. We'll see you guys in the next episode of Everyday Conversation. Till then, goodbye and do subscribe for weekly episodes. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amin. See you in the next part.